Jaffna High Court begins hearing horrific murder-rape case. Mass protest against the Uma Oya water project. Parents commence continuous fast against Saitam. Prisoner climbs on top of Dambulla Court complex. Colombo High Court grants bail to 3 suspects including MP Namal Rajpaksa.
A very good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct this evening from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscourt.
A very good evening to you. I'm Mazra Hassan. Let's now take a look at the stories in detail.
2 years ago, we reported on the controversial central bank treasury bond scam, but the response from leaders were poor. However, our reports have been proven true following reports and statements made by the Auditor General and the Attorney General in the recent days. Similarly, in 2014, after Gammadha program in Makulala, Bandarawala, we continuously pointed out the issues faced by the people as a result of the Uma Oya project. Even at that time, the response by policymakers were lackluster. It is after extensive research together with experts that we report on an incident. This is the current situation surrounding the Uma Oya project, which we disclosed 3 years ago.
Due to the lack of a proper solution to the issues arising from the Uma Oya multipurpose development project, a hartal and a protest took place in the Bandarawala town today. It was the people's movement against the destructive Uma Oya project that organized this campaign.
Bandarawala was a ghost town this morning as all shops, schools and government offices were shut down. With the hartal in effect, protesters converged to the town centre. People from 42 villages that have been affected by the Uma Oya multipurpose development project were among the protesters. 2 protest marches from Bandarawala and Atampitia, both starting at 9 this morning, reached the town centre. When JVP Uva Provincial Councillor Samantha Vidyaratna was to address the people gathered in the town centre, an argument broke out between 2 factions. UMP MP Chaminda Vijayasiri was among those present.
Both you and I cannot do this. The monks cannot do this. We must inform the President and the Prime Minister. It's been 2.5 years. So many people promised to stop this. The cabinet paper did not have any impact. We are here with a large number of people. We cannot be deceived with another piece of paper. Therefore, we need an official statement. There is an organization. We cannot reach a decision alone. Let's be organized and then present the issue. We need a discussion with the President and not to give a letter. We need a reasonable solution to this.
The police then intervened to remove a person who was involved in the verbal dispute.
We did not come here to leave in a few hours. We are here with food and water and we want to stop the destruction. 7,037 houses have suffered serious damages. In addition, schools, places of worship and business establishments have been damaged. 3,112 wells and springs have dried up. If the leaders do not heed to our demands, we will enter a stronger movement with the people. We need answers. If not, we will take action. We spoke on the issues these people faced before. No one listened to us. We are stating today that we will not leave this place. Therefore, we kindly request that a solution be given to us. Nobody is saying no to the Uma Oya project. The people request that this project does not become a curse on them. We need answers. This issue must be resolved.
The locals resorted to obstructing the train tracks at the Bandarawala train station, preventing the Colombo-Badula train from operating this evening. Later, a representative for the provincial governor visited the location and announced that a meeting has been granted with the president on the 30th. Based on the promise, the protesters dispersed.
As a person from this district, I am saddened by this. It is the water that is for this area that is leaking. It will take at least 2.5 years for the water table to stabilize. Let's say we take the drilling machine out. $541 million will go to waste. This project is not something that was done by us. I will state this again. We have no connection to this whatsoever. A Norwegian company has been invited to bring a specialist and seal this. If the government is not willing to do what needs to be done, I am ready at any time to stand against the government. I know that the government is fully committed to this task. The President and the Prime Minister has spoken to me about this issue thrice.
The minister also expressed views regarding a phone call he received during the media briefing.
The President spoke to me, Mr. Jayasuriya. I spoke to Chaminda as well. The President has asked us to meet him on Friday. I will send the fax. I will send the fax now. I was able to reach the President before this media briefing came to an end. We will see whether we can get a solution.
Ministers Mahinda Amarveera, Champika Ranawaka and Vijit Vijayamuni have been appointed. This is a project that goes through a densely populated area. These matters should have been discussed before the project commenced. There were extensive discussions regarding this yesterday. They have obtained a massive loan through this. We have to repay this. We cannot let that debt go. We are caught in this dilemma. We must discuss with all stakeholders and devise a correct action plan. That is the position of the Cabinet of Ministers. That is why this Committee of Ministers were appointed.
The parents of government medical faculty students commenced a Satyagraha campaign opposite the Fort railway station against the private medical college in Malabar.
They marched from the Viharamadevi Park to the Fort railway station protesting against the private medical college. They had organized a rally which was attended by representatives of the Government Medical Officers Association. Thereafter, the protesters attempted to set up a makeshift tent for the Satyagraha campaign, to which railway security personnel objected. The protesters thereafter set up a makeshift tent and commenced their Satyagraha campaign. A decision has been taken with regard to the Saitam hospital. Then we were clear about the program on extending their rights to Saitam. We have not decided on that as yet. Several discussions will have to be held on this, on how it can be implemented in the future. We'll hold talks and see how it goes. Let's be patient. There is another cabinet paper due. The secretary to the president was not even in his office on that day. He was at home with a spine ache. How can they meet him? He has to first recover from his spine ache, doesn't he? The president very clearly said yesterday that not a single secretary of his met with the GMOA. It is an absolute lie. These are lies they are saying because they cannot face society. No. Does it say anywhere that a meeting was held with the GMOA? There is a proposal like that, but no decision as yet. Take a book and read about the difference between thugs, terrorism and revolution. Lenin wrote a book about such movements and Marxism which these people follow. A book has been authored in Sinhala on leftist communism. Lenin defines people like this as terrorists. If Lenin is describing them as terrorists, and if even the leftists are describing them as terrorists, what other definition can we use for these people? What are we supposed to do without chasing them away? Wait until they burn the building down?
When the slogan says abolish Saitam, the government says we will take over the hospital. Who is speaking of a hospital? What will happen to this private university Saitam? 2 billion rupees of this are debts. The real profit is around 1.5 billion. The takeover will be against this backdrop. Who will repay this debt after the takeover? They will repay it in 10 installments and increase the tax on 250 grams of onion, the 500 grams of sugar and even a bar of soap. This is how they will repay the debt for 10 years. This is an absurd solution. This will never be abolished. This will never be listed as a public company. The Students' Federation, the doctors, the 110 trade unions that have signed, the anti-Saitam students' unions that have been appointed across the country in various villages, businessmen, the parents of the medical students who have commenced the demonstration today, we will all join together. We are ready to fight. If you are not holding discussions, I have to inform all these gentlemen. Let's fight.
Amid multiple protests staged across the island today, an inmate of the Pallakale prison managed to climb onto the roof of the Dambulla court in opposition of injustices he claimed to have faced behind bars.
This morning, the inmate had been brought to the Dambulla court for several cases of theft being filed against him. Saying he wanted to use the washroom, the inmate had got onto the roof of the courthouse after removing the ceiling of the washroom. The inmate's bizarre move halted judicial proceedings for over 3 hours. He climbed onto the roof to protest against alleged injustices he was subjected to in prison. It was a local politician who managed to persuade the inmate to abandon his protest and get off the roof.
Speaking at the UMP headquarters, Minister Sagala Ratnayaka commented on universities.
We believe that the students had no interest to get involved at all. We strongly believe that there is a political force behind these students. It is a frontline socialist party that influences these students to resort to violence. There are several other political parties that add fuel to the fire. When the education of university students is sabotaged, it takes even more time for them to integrate into society. This is a political strategy. This is done by those who cannot achieve their goals democratically. Students must not fall into this trap.
මේකට ශිෂ්‍යයන්වත් හසු වෙන්න හොඳ නැහැ. හැම අවස්ථාවකදීම උපදෙස්
We always instruct them to use minimum force. There was congestion inside the occupied building. The students did not allow law enforcement to resolve it and continued to block the entrance. The damages experienced was a result of the congestion. Police had no need to resort to such action and did not expect any such thing to take place.
මෙහෙම වෙයි කියලා.
We have sought the advice of the Attorney General on that matter. We are in talks with the Attorney General in this regard.
Employees of the Ceylon Electricity Board protested today, citing several demands, including the removal of the bill to abolish the CEB and a solution to salary anomalies.
The protest took place opposite the CEB head office premises in Fort Colombo. The protesters then marched across Slave Island and reached the Viharamadevi Park Amphitheatre, where the National Conference of the Joint Trade Union Alliance of the Ceylon Electricity Board commenced. This national conference urges the authorities to protect the independence of all the legal sector and not place it under the general management. We urge for the immediate withdrawal of the arbitrary bill that will abolish the CEB in 2 years. In addition, we request that there be no interference with the rights of the trade unions of the CEB. All in favour? A group opposed the statement that was made by the president of the Joint Trade Union Alliance.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe spoke at a conference on constitutional reforms, indicating progress that has been made with regard to the drafting of the new constitution. The conference was organized by the Constitutional Assembly Secretariat.
We are all agreed that the state cannot be divided. Sovereignty lies in the people. Now there is only one division. The chief ministers want more power, and at the center, despite parties, we feel it has to be restrained. So that's the only division. We've gone from divisions between political parties to division between the provincial council and the parliament as to how power should be exercised. I think we are coming to the crucial stage in building consensus for a new constitution.
Also addressing the conference, former Deputy Chief Justice of South Africa, Judge Digang Mozanique, spoke on reaching a consensus on the constitution, the South African experience.
The South African constitution is a post-conflict pact. It was brought into being at the end of a war between the oppressed and the oppressor. And it had one clear purpose: to establish a just society. And in the preamble to our constitution, we say we want to heal the divisions of the past. So our purpose was quite clear. We have a painful past, and we want to deal with past pain. We want to strive for unity. We recognize that the legitimacy of the constitution arises from the will of the people. It's not imposed on people, it is negotiated with them. And constitutions are important only for one reason: not to excite lawyers, not to allow bombast, but to help to protect society and to protect the most vulnerable in society, to regulate public power, which is given for one reason and one reason only: to do good and never to do bad. That's what constitutions are there for.
The conference, which was held at the BMICH, was attended by religious leaders, politicians, foreign diplomats and the Inspector General of Police.
Now, if you want to change the constitution, this is not the way. In the good governance, and let's see the South African experience, you must have an interim constitution, then they will have to go for a discussion, and thereafter you have to get the people mandate. But without that, just submitting reforms to parliament may not happen. Even UNP, the leader, has failed to reform his own party constitution. So everywhere, the problem is they are doing without a transparency, and also they are not taking into account what the country needs in future. Specifically, the main one, executive president abolish, nothing in the committee reports. So I don't think this is where, just to show general public, they are doing something for the country and show it, but I don't think any reality on this and any productive way to change the constitution.
Moving on to some news from courts this evening, the Colombo High Court today granted bail to 3 suspects, including parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa, in a case pertaining to a financial transaction. The case was filed by the Attorney General over the misuse of 30 million rupees in a financial transaction carried out by Govers Corporate Services Private Limited, a company owned by MP Namal Rajapaksa. High Court Judge Piyasena Ranasinghe released the suspects on sureties of 1 million rupees each. 11 indictments were filed against 5 suspects in the case under the Money Laundering Act. Suspects in the case, including MP Namal Rajapaksa, Sujani Bogolagama and Nityani Samaranayaka, appeared in court today. Attorneys at law appearing for the second and third defendants in the case said their clients had travelled overseas before the hearings began. Court issued notices to the 2 defendants and postponed the case until the 31st of August.
The murder case of a schoolgirl Vidya of Punkaduthi was taken up for hearing before a trial at the Jaffna High Court for the first time today.
The case was heard for 8 hours before trial at bar consisting of Balendran Shashi Mahendran, Manak Kavasagar Ilen Chelian and Annalingam Premashankar. 41 charges against the 9 suspects were separately read out in open court. They pleaded not guilty to the charges. Acting Attorney General Dappula de Oliveira informed court that Swiss Kumar, the main suspect behind the murder, had arrived in the island with the intention of video recording the rape of the girl. De Oliveira further pointed out that the intention of the suspect had been to sell the footage to an institution based in Switzerland. The acting Attorney General also informed court that the suspect had been involved in similar crimes in the subcontinent with the aim of selling footage in exchange of money. He further said there was adequate evidence to demonstrate that the victim had been subjected to gross sexual assault by a group of persons and that evidence will be proven in court. Vidya's mother, Sivaloganathan Saraswati, gave evidence at the hearing for nearly 4 hours. The Attorney General's department took steps to exhibit 16 items forwarded by the government analyst before Mrs. Saraswati, the victim's mother. Our court reporter said Mrs. Saraswati, who identified her daughter's school uniform, which she was wearing at the time of her murder, broke down in tears. The suspects who were remanded in the Anuradhapura prison were ordered by court to be transferred to the Jaffna prison. On the 13th of May 2015, Sivaloganathan Vidya, a resident of Punkure Thivu, was abducted, subjected to gross sexual assault and murdered by a group of people.
President Maithripala Sirisena made a surprise observation tour to the Negombo District Hospital today.
President Sirisena inspected the activities of the hospital and held a special discussion with specialist Dr. A. Lakruan Fernando, who is in charge of the special dengue treatment unit. The president, who witnessed the congestion in the dengue ward complex, directed the officials to take quick actions to expand required facilities. He also inspected the other development activities in the hospital and directed the health minister to provide required facilities.
The Attorney General's Department has called on the attorney for Perpetual Treasuries Limited to bring his client to explain questionable transactions in the bond market. Newsfirst Zulfiq Farzan reports on the 60th day of the proceedings.
Deputy Solicitor General Milinda Gunathilaka reiterated that the Employees Provident Fund had sold bonds in the primary market and later on purchased them back in the secondary market at a higher price. He pointed out that in November 2015, the EPF had purchased 2 bonds, both 1 billion rupees worth at 115 rupees and 113 rupees per unit from the primary market and sold them. The EPF had repurchased those bonds from Perpetual Treasuries Limited for 121 rupees and 56 cents and 120 rupees and 56 cents per unit. In addition, it was noted that the Employees Provident Fund and Perpetual Treasuries Limited must justify the facts presented by the witness, Vasanta Alves, Additional Director of IT at the Central Bank. President's Counsel Nihal Fernando, representing Perpetual Treasuries Limited, claimed that the evidence led by the Attorney General's Department is misleading and unreasonable and claimed that the documentation presented was flawed. The witness denied that the documentation is flawed, and Deputy Solicitor General Milinda Gunathilaka claimed that the cross-examination of the attorney for Perpetual Treasuries Limited is in fact confusing. The Deputy Solicitor General noted that the attorney for PTL is bringing in his own theories, and if he is advancing those theories, he should step into the witness box. He added that the attorney for PTL had accepted the transactions presented by the witness were those entered into by PTL. PTL's lawyer, Nihal Fernando, said he would not accept any interpretation made by the state.
Minister Sajith Premadasa made several remarks regarding the Government Medical Officers Association in Attanagala today.
900 people from the Nittambo area in Attanagala were presented with housing loans. MP Harshana Rajakarna was also in attendance.
The
GMOA says they will take a firm decision in the coming days. What is their decision? I'll explain it to you. They are going to decide, are they going to let people die or live? A medical strike would result in the deaths of many people in the country. You are aware that an answer was given to the Rathapaswala matter through a T-56 rifle. Today, it is through the GMOA. The government allocates billions to purchase the medication for the people. They are trying to massacre the people. The people must take a wise stand. Many such incidents are taking place, and Saitam is not the only issue they have. They are doing this in order to ensure their leaders are sent to temple trees or the presidential palace.
The new four-star general of the army, General Crisante de Silva, was greeted to military honours upon his elevation to the rank of general today.
General Crisante de Silva received the promotion while still serving as the commander of the army after he assumed office in February 2015. A military salute was also held this morning in line with the occasion. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ravi Karunanayake says the shift in global power will benefit Sri Lanka.
The shift in power from west to east is a positive one for Sri Lanka. This is indicated by the interest of major regional powers in investing in Sri Lanka. There are several strategies of commercial diplomacy that we should pursue. First, we should pursue a hub diplomacy, which relentlessly promotes Sri Lanka as the first choice location for regional headquarters of international companies. Secondly, while thinking global, our foreign service must also act local by utilizing strategies of para-diplomacy. Third, we continue to prioritize our proposed free trade agreements with India, China and Singapore. We should research the potential of engaging the proposed mega FTA, like a regional comprehensive economic partnership. We must reach out to overseas Sri Lankans. They have networks and know-how that we currently do not even appreciate.
A discussion on the resettlement of people in Irunathivu took place today under the auspices of State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena. Following these discussions, questions were raised regarding the strategic importance of the Irunathivu island.
The Irunathivu island is extremely important for national security. Most of the narcotics and contraband reach Sri Lanka from countries like Pakistan and India by sea. The Navy observes these activities from this island. In addition, illegal vessels enter Sri Lankan waters from this area. The Navy needs to make legal intervention. That is why this island is important for national security. We use this radar system to put a complete stop to all the illegal activities that are taking place because it has a major impact on the country. We discussed it with India and other respective countries. The Navy is handling it.
After two successful Gammadhi initiatives, we here at Newsfirst are happy to announce that we will be launching the third Gammadhi initiative, which we aim to complete 1,000 projects under this Gammadhi initiative.
That's right, 1,000 projects, and even our area correspondents and provincial correspondents were briefed on this to kickstart this initiative.
The Gammadhi 1000 Projects Initiative commences this Saturday, the 1st of July. Gammadhi, revolutionizing the landscape of rural Sri Lanka.
That's a wrap of this edition of Primetime News, but don't go anywhere. Up next on TV1 is Crosstalk, where Peter Level discusses reasons for Democrats to keep losing at all fronts in US politics.
I'm Azra Hassan.
I'm Joel Artsgood.
Take care and good night.
Newsfirst reported yesterday that the construction of the southern railway line from Mathura to Beliatta has not been carried out according to a proper standard. The company that was vested with the construction was CMC, a Chinese company. We also reported that the same company engaged in the construction of the Norachole coal power plant. The China Machinery Engineering Corporation, CMEC, contacted Newsfirst and said they were the company involved in the construction of the Norachole coal power plant. As per a communique we received from CMEC, it was in fact CMEC that constructed the Norachole coal power plant, CMC. CMEC also confirms that they were not involved in the construction of the railway line.